Om Jnanatimirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshormilitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So here we are resuming our Sri Brahma Samhita meeting. And we've had a few more join us. Giridhari Prabhu, welcome. Krishnandrani, Didi, Turkey. Dhanyavad everyone. Great to see all of you. So we're going to pick up from verse 46. We're getting close to the end. Okay. Deeparcheva hi dashantaramabhyupetya Deepayate vivitahetu samana dharma Yastajageva hi cha vishnutaya vibhati Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. As the flame of one original lamp, when transmitted to another, burns separately as the expanded cause with the same nature of intensity, so also he who shines in Vishnu's dynamic nature, that primeval Lord Govinda, do I worship. Giridhari Prabhu, do you want to read that purport?
Okay. Purport to 46. Now the presiding deities of Haridama, the plenary portions of the Lord, who are known as Hari, Narayan, Vishnu, etc., are being described. Krishna's Vilasamurti, plenary form possessing general identical potency, is the Lord of Paravyoma, Vaikuntha, Narayan. Narayan's expansion is the first predominative descent, or Purusha avatar, Karnadakshayi, that Purusha avatar's expansion is Garbhodakshayi, and Garbhodakshayi's expansion is Kirodakshayi Vishnu. The Lord's name Vishnu indicates him to be the omniscient and the omnipresent. In this shloka, by elucidating the position of Kirodakshayi, the principle of the plenary expansion of the Lord is being elucidated. The Vishnu principle, or descendant of Sattvaguna, is quite distinct from the Shambhu principle of mixed Mayic qualities and connotations. The intrinsic form of Govinda, Vishnu, is also that form. Both are the embodiment of pure existence. Vishnu, the manifest cause, is of the same nature as Govinda. Because it is always adulterated to some degree by Rajogun and Tamogun, the Sattvagun of the threefold material qualities, or gunas, is not pure. Brahma appears in Rajogun, and he is a separated portion, the Binamsa, possessing the influence of a plenary portion, Svamsa. And Shambhu appears in Mayic Tamogun, and he is similarly a separated portion possessing the influence of a plenary portion. They are separated portions because Maya's Rajo and Tamogun are so estranged from unalloyed spirituality that Brahma and Shambhu, who appear in those modes, are also greatly distanced from the Lord himself, Svayam Rupa, or the Lord himself showing a varied form, Tad Ekatma. Despite the Sattva gun of Maya being alloyed with the other gunas, Gunavatar Vishnu makes his advent only in the unalloyed portion of Sattva gun, the portion of completely pure transcendental existence. This Vishnu is the full plenary portion expansion of Svamsa Vilas and the almighty entity, Maheshvara Tattva. He is not connected with Maya, yet he is the master of Maya. Vishnu is the agent of Govinda's own nature as the cause of all expansions. All the majestic attributes of Govinda are present in his Vilasamurti, plenary expansion Narayan. That is, 60 qualities are present in Narayana in full proportion. Therefore, although Vishnu is a guna avatar, or a descent in a material nature, his personality is not alloyed with the gunas or qualities of Maya as the personalities of Brahma and Shiva are. The advent of Narayan in the form of Mahavishnu, the advent of Mahavishnu in the form of Gobardakshai, and Vishnu's advent as Kshirodakshai exemplifies the dynamic nature of the Absolute. Vishnu is the Godhead, and the other two guna avatars and all the gods are entities subordinate to him, their offices delegated by him. Govinda is the original or supreme lamp from Vilasamurti, all the planetary or Svamsa descendants of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai, Kshirodakshai, and Rama, etc., shine resplendently as individual lamps in their respective locations by the transcendental potency of Govinda. And I don't know, what is this? Is this a footnote? Should I read that?
It's a very long footnote. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's a footnote to that purport. Is that what that is?
Yes.
With the star at the end. Okay,
Yes.
at 46, there's a star. That's the footnote. Footnote, the eternal form of Krishna that is independent of any other form is known as Svayam Rupa, as corroborated in Sri Brahma Samhita 5.1. That form which is non-different from Svayam Rupa, but manifests a different form and character is called the Tad Ekatma Rupa. Tad Ekatma Rupa is of two types, Vilasa and Svamsa. When by the play of Krishna's inconceivable potency, his generally similar form appears in a different form, it is called Vilasa. For example, the Vilasa form of Govinda is Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha, and the Vilasa form of the Lord of Vaikuntha is Vasudev, as the first quadruple expansion. That form, which is in the case of Vilasa, is non-different from Svayamrupa, yet exhibits less power than the Vilasa form, is called Svamsa. Examples are Shankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, etc. The three Purusha avatars headed by Mahavishnu, the Lila avatars of Matsya, etc., the Man avatar avatars, and the Yuga avatars. When Janardhan, Krishna, allots his potencies of knowledge, devotion, creation, service, universal sustenance, gravitational force, and discipline of miscreants, etc., and infuses the empowers specially selected great entities with those potencies. They are known as Avesh, or Shakta Avesh avatars. Examples are the four Kumaras, knowledge, Narada, devotion, Brahma, creation, Ananta, gravity, Prithu, sustenance, Parashurama, discipline, and Shesha of Vaikuntha, service. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 39th chapter, Akrura is mentioned as having had the darshan of Shesha, Narada, the Kumaras, etc., when immersing himself in the Yamuna for bath. This is the description of the three forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead called Swayam Rupa, Tad Ekatma Rupa, and Avesh. The forms known as Prakasha cannot be reckoned as different from the Lord, since they are not different in any respect from the Lord's intrinsic form. Thus, when one form of the Lord appears simultaneously in many places, as with the same form, qualities, and pastimes, that form is called Prakash. For example, Sri Krishna was observed once by Narad to be present in every place of Dwarka. The 10th canto, Bhagavatam Shloka, Chitram Bhataita, etc., is the evidence of this fact. Thus establishes the Prakash form of the Supreme Lord. From Sri Lagu Bhagavamritam. And there's a note, Mahavishnu is Kirashakti Vishnu, Vishnu, Karan Dakshari Vishnu, Garbhodakshari Vishnu. Okay. Kiradakshari Vishnu.
Okay. Thank you, Giridhar, for
You're welcome.
well done for
You're
getting
welcome.
through all that technical information.
Very technical, yes.
Welcome to, oh, Dana hasn't connected yet to audio, but she's here. Welcome, Dana, just joined us. So, yeah, a lot of technical information. This is the kind of thing where it'd be helpful to see a chart, actually. There are some floating around, like showing all the specific expansions. If I'd prepared properly, I could have had one ready to share in our meeting now. But one thing I wanted to mention is you know, for us things are quite simple, right? Like we've come in kind of like with a blank slate, right? Coming with a Western background. We're coming in with a blank slate. And our guru has told us that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's good enough for us, right? We're happy with that. But one thing we have to remember, right, is like for persons who have grown up in the Vedic culture and they already know all these characters, right? You know, Shiva, Brahma, you know, Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and so on. You know, things aren't so clear, right? And in particular, like these three gods, they're, you know, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, they're often seen as being kind of like an equal platform. And they're also seen in playing roles that are relative to this material world, right? So Lord Brahma is known as the god of creation, Lord Vishnu as the god of maintaining the creation, then Lord Shiva as Rudra, he's the destroyer, right? So this is like a very general, simple, basic idea. And then so here in Brahma Samhita, like this is being addressed, like, you know, actually the position of Lord Vishnu cannot be compared, you know. You know, Lord Shiva, he's in, and these things we discussed in previous verses as well. Lord Shiva's in his own category, you know, he's not exactly Vishnu Tattva. Lord Brahma, you know, he's actually Jiva Tattva. And so, you know, Lord Vishnu's position is supreme. And furthermore, right, that Vishnu, he's also not the original, right? But Krishna is the original. And he has equal power to Krishna, but Krishna is the most original. And that wonderful analogy is given, right, in the verse of the flame, right? That, you know, Krishna is like that original flame, and then other lamps are being lit from that first flame, but still there's that original flame, right? And that is Krishna's position. And of course, another thing to add on is that, you know, Krishna does have supremacy from the consideration of rasa, right? And there's one verse which our Gurudev used to quote, you know, saying that Krishna and Vishnu, they cannot be considered, you know, that they should be considered of equal power. And it is an offense to think of them as distinct entities. However, from the consideration of rasa, then Krishna is more developed, you know, in terms of, you know, divine relationship, divine sentiments. You know, Krishna is more developed, more complete. So I think that's all really I can comment on this. And then there's a lot of that purport. There's a lot of you know, technical description of the specific, you know, different types of expansions coming from Krishna. These are points also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyone have any other comment or question, or should we continue? Okay, I'll carry on. So I'll go on to verse 47. Yeah. Yakaranarnava jale bhajati sma yoga Nidram ananta jagadanda saroma kupa Adada shaktim avalambya param swamurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. With infinite universes in the pores of his body, he assumes his supreme figure called Shesh, the reservoir of almighty power personified. He who reclines on the causal ocean, enjoying his trance of divine sleep, that primeval Lord Govinda do I worship. Purport. Ananta, who takes the form of the couch of Mahavishnu, is being described. The infinite couch upon which Mahavishnu reclines, that infinite is the avatar who is by nature a servant of Krishna. He is known as Shesh. So this is the serpent form, right? There's not so much detail here, but we hear Nantashesh is, he's ultimately Baladev, right? He's also appearing as Baladev. And he takes this form as the divine couch of the Lord. Okay, I'm going to 48. Yasyaika nishvasita kala matavalambya Jivanti loma bilaja jagarandanata Vishnur mahantaiha yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The lifespans of Brahma and the gods of the universes born from the pores of the divine body of Mahavishnu last for only one exhalation of Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu is the portion of a portion of that primeval Lord Govinda, who I do worship. Purport. The almighty majesty of the entity of Vishnu has been illustrated herein. So this gives you some perspective, right, of time. one exhalation, one breath of Maha, not even a full breath, with one exhaling breath of Mahavishnu. That represents the lifespan of Lord Brahma, right? Billions and billions and billions of years from our calculation. That is just one breath. Okay, we'll go into verse 49. Basvanya tashma sakaleshu nijeshu tejaha Sviyam kiyat prakatayat yapiyadvaratra Brahmaya esha jagananda vidana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. As the sun, Surya, manifests some of his light in the gems named after him as Surya Kanta, similarly, he by whom Brahma is empowered to create the entire material universe, the primeval Lord Govinda, do I worship. So, this point is being made, right? That, Lord Brahma, who's revered, so highly as, within the Vedic world, as a senior deva, the creator. Here we're being told he's empowered by Krishna, right? Just as the sun, is manifesting some of its light and gems. Purport. Generally, there are two types of Brahmas. In certain millennia, when there is a qualified jiva present in the world, the potency of the Lord enters that jiva, who then takes the post and executes the universal creative duties of Brahma. So it's mentioned in the scriptures that, from what I remember, it's if a jiva soul can carry out their duties, within the Varnashrama system perfectly for 100 lifetimes, right? Then they are considered qualified. So obviously that's not a small feat, right? So such a qualified soul, then they may take that post. It is a post, right? However, then we're hearing in this next phrase, for those millennia, so then that jiva becomes empowered, right, to perform the creation by the Lord. However, for those millennia in which such an eligible jiva is not available, upon the liberation of the Brahma of the previous millennium, Krishna delegates his own potency to create the Raja Guna avatar of Brahma. In actuality, Brahma is superior to a general jiva, yet he is not directly the divinity. And the divinity is present to a greater degree within Shambhu, who has been described previously. The underlying purport is that the 50 qualities of the general jiva are present in Brahma in a fuller measure than in the jiva. Plus, he possesses to a fractional degree 5 more qualities not found in the jivas. But those 50 qualities and the fractional 5 qualities are found in still greater proportions in Shambhu. So what I had understood is that if there's no qualified jiva, then Krishna himself takes that role as Lord Brahma. And here that is not, it's not completely clear. Delegate, well, I suppose it does, yeah, he delegates his own potency, so it's more of a direct manifestation of the Lord. He carries out that role. And then this thing about the 50 qualities. So it's mentioned right in the scriptures. I think most of you are familiar that the jivas, so the ordinary jivas, the finite souls, they can potentially have up to 50 special qualities. And then the demigods, they can potentially have up to 55, right? And then we're told Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu, he has 60 these special qualities, Baladev 62, and Lord Krishna 64, right? And so it's mentioned here that Lord Brahma, he has, what is the word here? In a fuller measure, so a greater degree of these 50 qualities, plus, and to a small proportion, these extra 5 that the devas may have. And then Lord Shiva has those qualities to a higher degree.
I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
The other Vishnu avatars, they also have 60 qualities?
The avatars of Vishnu, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I would think so. I would think so. Yes, I would think so. Yes, it's an interesting question.
They're still Vishnu, right? I'm thinking, Rama may have something more just because.
Yeah, no, Lord Ramachandra, yes, Lord Ramachandra, I believe Lord Ramachandra may be 62. Yeah, because according to Rasa, Ramachandra is more developed. Rama's Leela is more, Ayodhya is on a somewhat higher platform than Vaikuntha. Right, because the Rasa is more developed. Ramachandra has parents, right? For one, he has family, right? And there's, it's not so much everything. Gurudev made an interesting point about Ram Leela that, these other rasas, they are available. Actually all the rasas, they are available. Well, with the exception of Parakiya Rasa, the paramour relationship, we could say. All the rasas are available in Ram Leela. But Gurudev made this interesting point, but they're all present in a suppressed way. And that everything is leaning towards the mood of dasya, right? Servitorship to Krishna. So, like Baladev, he's appearing as the younger brother, right? So he's not able to fully express his mood of devotion, right? In the mood of the younger brother, he has to be subservient. Whereas when he's Baladev, he's the older brother. He has that Vatsalya, that guardian mood is coming out, and it's stronger, right? And also Sita Devi, she's in the conjugal relationship, but it's also leaning towards more of a servitorship. position. So yes, Ram Lila is more developed. The Rasa and Ram Lila is more developed than in Vishnu's Lila, right? In Narayan Lila, but not so developed. Then in Krishna Lila, everything takes on its fully, whole developed form, fully expressed form. Full-fledged theism, right? Sridhar Maharaj, he used that term, fully developed. But yes, I believe Ramachandra 62 is mentioned.
So Baladev, you're saying Baladev and
Baladev is
Ramachandra
62.
are 62.
Yes.
And do we classify like Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with these tattvas, or they'd be synonymous to their counterparts?
Well,
Like
yes.
Balaram,
Yes.
Nityananda.
Yes, for sure. Because, Nityananda, Baladev, they're non-different. Krishna, Mahaprabhu, according to Rasa, they are equal quality, just different mood, right?
Personalities, right? Yeah.
One is in the mood of Madhurya, right? That sweetness, and the other is an Audarya, that sweetness with the tinge of generosity, in the mood of generosity, magnanimity. But according to the quality of Rasa, it's the same, just different expression, different style. So yes. But yeah, nice points. Okay, we'll continue. So 50. Yat pada palava yugam vinidaya kumbha dvandve pranama samaye saganadi rajaha ignan vihantamalamasya jagatchayasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. For the power to crush the obstacles of the three worlds, he whose lotus feet Ganesh perpetually holds upon the pair of nodes of his elephantine head, the primeval Lord Govinda, do I worship. So this is so wonderful, right? Because all, like in the Vedic culture, all of these devas who are being described, they're worshipped in an independent way, right? So like Ganesh is one of the popular deities, isn't he, right? He's the remover of obstacles, right? And I think he's associated with wealth and all these things. And so, but here in Brahma Samhita, everything's being put in clear perspective, right? They're all servants of Krishna. They're all devotees of Krishna. They're all loving servants of Sri Krishna. And ultimately their power, as it's being pointed out, it's all coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source. They're not independent, right? Krishna is the source. Purport: Ganesh holds the power to destroy all obstacles, and he is worshipable by the appropriate persons accordingly. As the worshipable Brahman with attributes, his qualification has afforded him a position amongst the 5 principal gods. Ganesh holds the office of a god of delegated power. All his glory is granted by the grace of Govinda. Agnirmahi gaganamambu marudishascha alastatatma manasiti jagatchayani yasmad bhavanti vishanti yanja govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Fire, earth, sky, water, air, space, time, soul, mind. The 3 worlds are created of these 9 elements. He from whom these elements are born, in whom they remain, and in whom they enter in the end, that primeval Lord Govinda do I worship. Purport: there is nothing more in the 3 worlds beyond the 5 elements, the directions of space, time, the jiva, and the mental element of mind, intelligence, and ego, that composes the subtle body of the conditioned soul. The karmis or elevationists offer oblations for sacrifice into fire. Mundaners know nothing beyond this world of directly perceivable 9 elements. Regarding the self-delight state of Atmarama, sought after by the jnanis or dry liberationists, the jiva himself is that joyful self. What is considered in Sankhya philosophy to be Prakriti, nature, and Atma, soul, are included in the above elements. The purport is that every element delineated by all types of philosophers are included within these 9 basic elements. And Sri Govinda is the repository of creation, sustenance, and dissolution of all these elements. Okay, well, I don't know if I have anything to add on to that. We'll go into 52. Yakchaksharesha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta sudamurti rashesha tejaha yas yagyaya brahmati sambrita kalo chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. With unlimited brilliance and power, the sun is the king of all the planets, the resort of all the gods, the personified eye of the universe. He upon whose order the sun, mounting the wheel of time, runs his perpetual orbit, that primeval Lord Govinda do I worship. Purport. There are many followers of Vedic religiosity that worship the sun as Brahman. The sun god Surya is one of the hierarchy of the 5 principal gods. So the sun god, I don't know so much, about how the Vedic worship goes on. Some of you may be able to say much more. But this, this understanding and impression I have, right, that the sun has a very special position and is given very special honor, right, amongst the worship of the various devas. And that's the Brahma Gayatri, right? That's generally considered to be a worship of the sun god. And that Brahma Gayatri has a very special position, right? And that's the Gayatri which is given at the time of the Brahman initiation. And of course, from Srila Sridhar Maharaj, we've been given a much deeper understanding of that Brahma Gayatri. But generally, it has been considered like that, of, worship, prayer to the Surya Dev. So he has such honor, right, Surya. But here we're being told, right, the source of his power, is Krishna, and he's acting on the order of Krishna. So, everything's being put within perspective in these verses. Really, now I'm thinking about it, it's like, Brahma Samhita, it's speaking to the children class, don't sit on the floor.
It's okay.
Because actually, Krishna's position is so much higher, right? He doesn't need to be appreciated relative to Ganesh, right? He doesn't need to be appreciated, relative to Durga and Surya and so on, right? His play, the play of the sweet absolute going on in Vrindavan, has nothing to do with the running. All of these devas, they have roles in the running of this mundane world, which is utterly insignificant, right, compared to the play of that higher eternal world of Krishna, right? So Krishna doesn't need to be appreciated relative to these devas, right? So really, it's kind of just hitting me now, how these explanations in Brahma Samhita, they're for the baby class, right? It's because generally in the Vedic culture, right, these are the characters and they're so impressive, right? Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, Surya Dev, and so on, right? They are the major players, right? They are the supreme, gods who are being worshipped, right? So in order to help us appreciate Krishna's position, then the relativity is being shown, right? How does Krishna stand relative to them? So it's actually like a very merciful explanation, right? Giving us some perspective, like, oh, that Lord Brahma, who you give so much reverence to, this is his position in connection with Krishna, oh, that God of the sun, right? So it's a very, kind presentation, helping someone to develop faith in what Krishna's position is. Like, this is what we know, or, I mean, again, like for us, perhaps these things are not so relative because we haven't grown up with that background, but it's very helpful for us still to, be given this perspective and to understand how those coming from that type of background, how they are seeing things, right? Okay, so continue this purport. So the sun god is one of the hierarchy of the 5 principal gods. In the footnote here, Pancha Devata, Surya, Ganesh, Shakti, Shiva, and Vishnu. Right. So yeah, like, I mean, just look at that. These are known as, this is the 5 Pancha Devata, 5 principal gods. Like, like this is like a very beginner's idea, right? And Vishnu is not, what is Vishnu's supreme position? That's not being made clear there, right, at all. So here in Brahma Samhita, there's more perspective being given. Actually, Vishnu is way up here. His position cannot be compared to others, actually. So this 5-fold worship, but it's like a starting point, right? This 5-fold worship, Panchopasana, is professed by worshippers whose devotion is motivated by liberation, and is not admitted in the school of pure Vaishnavism, where Vishnu or Krishna, Govinda, is known to be the Supreme Lord. Okay, going back to our purport. So I'm just wondering, like, what would you call like a comment to a footnote? Because we've got all these layers going on. We've got the verse translate. First we've got the verse. No, first we've got the Sanskrit in Bengali. Then we've got the English transliteration. Then we've got the translation in English, and then we've got the purport, and then we've got footnotes to the purport. So what happens if there's like a comment on the footnote? It's a serious question. Okay, going back to our purport here. There are also many that profess heat to be the cause of the world. So if we had Marie here, I bet she could tell us. There are also many that profess heat to be the cause of the world, and therefore designate the sun as the sole source of heat to be the root cause of the world. Anyway, Surya is the presiding deity of the aggregate worldly heat, light, and power for one sphere, and thus a god of delegated power. On the order of the Supreme Lord Govinda, the sun obediently executes his delegated service. Okay, and do one more, the 53. Dharmo Tapa.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
I have a question. It's a little bit tricky, but
Let's do our best.
we have a universe, right? We have a universe, and the scientists have seen all these different constellations and different they can see stars when they're in a universe. They can see that. So it's part of our, maybe you call it Brahmanand, right? Part of our physical locality. So they've kind of said that there's other suns, like there's other stars that are just as powerful as our sun in our Earth.
Wait, sorry, who's
looking through the scientists, like looking through their telescope, right? So the tricky question, I'm like, well, if there's other suns, if there's one Brahma, is there more than one Surya in our Brahmanand? Or like, are we the only,
There
is
must
our sun
there
the only?
must be. No, there must be within one. Oh, actually, I'm not sure within what it is. Is it one Brahma per Brahmanda or
Yeah,
any
one
Brahmas?
Brahma.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, we can say yeah. I mean, these things, these are all roles, right? Like Surya Day, that's a role, right? And I've also heard that
Mhm.
there's a Surya Narayan, right? That similar to what we heard about Lord Brahma, that when there's not a qualified jiva, then Lord Vishnu takes that role in some way. And I've
Oh,
heard that also about Surya Dev, that if there isn't a qualified jiva, then Lord Narayan takes that role. Lord Vishnu takes that role. But yes, no doubt there are unlimited universes within this mundane sphere, and there will be these devas playing those roles in each sphere, according to my understanding. These are all roles that are being played, right? Tungaras is asking what the question. The question was Prabhu's asking because we hear that there's not just one Brahma, but there are many Brahmas. We hear that incident and it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? That in order to curb Lord Brahma's pride, then Krishna, one day when he goes to visit Krishna, then no, who is he going to visit? Is it Lord Narayan he's visiting? Do you remember, Giridhar?
when they bow their heads?
Yeah, who are they visit? Is it Krishna? Is it
Brahma's going to visit Krishna. I mean, yeah, Krishna.
Krishna
Vishnu,
and
Krishna.
Dwarka maybe? I think it might be Krishna and Dwarka.
I'm not remembering.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But anyway, we're told that when Lord Brahma reached the gate of the palace, the guards went to inform Krishna, oh, Brahma's arrived. And then Krishna sent back, which Brahma? And this startled Lord Brahma because he thought he was the only one. And then, well, the four-headed, Chaturmukh, four-headed. And then he got brought in and then Krishna gave him this special vision. He called in like all the different Brahmas from all the different universes, and there were thousands there, and some of them had like hundreds of heads, and they were much more mighty than he was. So it was a very humbling experience for him. And so Prabhu's bringing up this point. Then are there other Surya Devs, right? I would say yes. Must be so. Must be so.
So I was thinking, of course, there's other Suryas, and you have a Brahma, you have a Surya, you have a Shiva, like in that Brahmanand, like in that creation. But within one creation, with one Brahma, it seems like there's different suns. So maybe there's more than one Surya.
Wait, sorry, say that again. Oh,
so under one
different
Brahma, like
suns here.
it looks like we have more than one sun in this space, right? So I was thinking, oh, maybe there's one Brahma and there could be more than one Surya. I mean, it's not really that important, but
I think anything's possible, right?
yeah, it's possible.
Everything, we live in the world of infinite possibility. We're just getting like a tiny,
Right.
very fraction of what is,
Mhm.
the reality, right?
Mhm.
Only one Krishna.
Om
Well,
Krishna Jai.
okay, one Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. But then there's Mathura Krishna, right? And there's Dwaraka Krishna. Right, yes, one Swayam Bhagavan, Vrindavan Krishna. Yes. Yeah, because I mean, the point here is that, these are roles or posts, right? Lord Brahma is a post, right? And we hear in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, right? Gopakumar, when he's on his journey, like he actually has the post of Brahma for a little while, right? From what I remember. And then he moves on. So they are posts, and they can be held by different beings at different times. So welcome, Chintamani. We're missing Jayadev. We haven't seen him this week. He's busy with work.
Dandavat, Didi, and all assembled
Dandavat.
devotees. Yeah, he's been really maxed out. So he's gonna catch the recording though, he says.
Okay, please give him our dandavats. We're missing his good company.
Hey Jayadev, the Vaishnavas are sending dandavats, especially Vishaka. Okay, I told him. I don't know if he heard me. He might have his headphones on. We've been house sitting at this really epic house. So it kind of whacked up both of our schedules. And I'm just really like taking advantage of being jet lagged and like sleeping as much as possible because